got a fun one today. Get this question. In an earlier snapshot, you talked about getting away from a district canon of curriculum, that textbooks are only tools, and we should be able to pick what is best for our students. My principal says I still have to use Imagine It. Should I follow her or you? Okay, first of all, let's say you're driving and there's a stoplight. The stoplight's green, but there's a policeman underneath it, and he tells you to stop. Do you follow the general rule or the officer on site? The people on the ground dealing with specific situations usually take precedence over general rules. You are welcome to email, to walk in Wednesday, call, or otherwise look for clarification if your principal's direction seems to be contrary to something that you believe in. But insubordination tends not to be a good strategy. Okay, now to the substance of your question. I like stories, and so I'm going to answer that question with a story. Several years ago, working in another district, I was meeting with a teacher in that district's version of our professional growth and evaluation, our PG&E system. Ours is vastly superior, by the way. Anyway, I asked her what her goals were for the year. And she said, well, I want to go to this conference, and I want to go to that conference. I said, no, not your goals, not the goals for yourself, but the goals for your students. She says, what do you mean the goals for my students? I said, all right, let's say a kid comes to you and says, I'm going to spend a year of my life with you and do everything you ask me to do to the best of my ability. How will I be a different person at the end of the year? Which I kind of think is a legitimate question. I mean, these kids really are going to spend a semester of their lives, a year of their lives with us, and we're going to ask them to do things. How are they going to be different? Well, so her response to that was, she thought about it for a minute and said, I don't know, I've never, really thought about that. I said, well, let's think about that. We brainstormed a little bit. She said, well, I'm an ESL teacher, and all of my kids are level 1. They're level 1 students. How about at the end of the year, they've all made it to level 2? And I said, I like that. It's time bound, it's measurable, it's specific. You can chart that, you can watch that progress. How does a kid move from level 1 to level 2? And she said, oh, it's about the score they get on a particular test. I said, okay, what kinds of things are assessed as they move from 1 to 2? She said, I don't know, I've actually never looked at it. I said, really? Then how do you know that what you're doing every day is worth anything? Now that made her kind of angry, and I probably didn't ask that very well. She said, well, everything I do is worthwhile. I said, no, you're right. The things you do are undoubtedly valuable, but how do you know that they're fulfilling the promise that you made to this child, that you made to these kids about where they're going to be at the end of the year? How do you know that the activities of every day are taking them where you promised them you were going to go if you don't know what the road looks like? All of which is to say, we need to be able to articulate the pedagogical purposes, the pedagogical objectives of all of our activities, of the things that we do every day. I've jotted some notes down here. I mean, these kids, what are we giving them in exchange for the year of their lives that they're giving us? For better or for worse, the state provides us with the curriculum, specifically the objectives or standards that need to be met. Those are the pedagogical objectives. So the focus of the district office then, our job, the district's job, is to provide tools to assist educators in meeting those objectives. Our tool selection process takes lots of things into account. It takes research into account, it takes results into account, it takes mobility, which is a unique challenge that we have in Granite, it takes mobility into account. It takes stretching our limited dollars and resources as far as we possibly can into account. But most importantly, though, these tools are selected to help us meet pedagogical objectives. So, if your school has a tool, or if you've identified a tool that you believe will better meet certain objectives than the standard tool the district's identified, that's okay. But our instructional services folks are about a week away for making a form available to get a waiver from the standard tool so that you can use an alternate tool. As is clear, the first line on this form will be regarding the specific pedagogical objective that you're meeting with the alternate tool. Then there will also be, and how are you going to measure and compare that the results with the alternate tool are better than the ones with the standard tool, because this is all about student achievement. Now, having said these things, told this story, chuckled with you a little bit, I hope. I really do appreciate your commitment to student achievement, the great things you do for kids, the great effort that you put in for kids, and I look forward to the great things that this teaching force, best teaching force I believe anywhere, is going to accomplish. Thank you.